participants. Welcome to this webinar on enhancing statistical capacity through the global training on small area estimation, lessons from Asia Pacific, Africa, and Latin America and the Caribbean. This event is co-organized by the United Nations Statistics Division and the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean. And it is aimed at showcasing the experiences and lessons learned from the global training on small area estimation in 2023. This webinar has simultaneous interpretation in Spanish and English. It is accessible through the corresponding button on the Zoom application. And as I mentioned before, we have a packed agenda for the next hour, so we kindly ask participants to strictly adhere to the allocated time for their contributions. Without further ado, I am pleased to pass the floor to Young Jimin, Chief of the SDG Monitoring Section of UNSD, to open this event. Please, Young, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Javier. Dear colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's my great pleasure to join my colleagues from Latin America and the Caribbean, Asia Pacific, and Africa in providing you with an overview of our work on enhancing statistical capacity through the global training on small area estimation. And so, as you know, that leaving no one behind is a central transformative promise of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Ensuring that these commitments are translated into effective action requires a precise understanding of the target population and progress made in addressing their particular priorities and needs. To properly measure this, statistics need to be presented presented for different population groups and geographic area. Small area estimations techniques has been proved to be very useful in providing reliable disaggregate data for many of the SDG indicators, such as the poverty estimation, food insecurity, and undernourishment, health-related indicator, unemployment rate, and many more. So this work has been supported by the interagency and expert group on SDG indicators and also the intersecretarial working group on household surveys. So this work actually started with a UN Wiki platform on SAE for the SDGs, and then followed by the e-learning courses with great collaboration with a colleague from ECLAC and also UNFPA. So we have launched the English version of the training in August 2023, and close to 500 registration for the self-paced versions. And now guided learning is available in English and Spanish. This is thanks for the collaboration with the colleagues in ECA, SCAP, and ECLAC. And lastly, I want to thank ECLAC for leading the organization of the session. So we look forward to hearing more about the training experience for our partners and the students. We would like to continue to reflect and improve our training and capacity building, and also provide more resources on small areas estimations. Back to you, Javier.
Thank you very much, Yonggi. We will move next to Andres Gutierrez, Regional Advisor on Social Statistics at the Statistics Division of ECLAC, who will present the Global Training Initiative on Small Area Estimation. Andres, over to you. You're muted.
Yeah, I know. It always happens. Can you hear me properly? Right.
Yes.
And can you see my screen? What are you seeing?
Yes, we're seeing the screen.
And now?
Yes, and the slides are moving.
All right, thank you. Thank you, all of you, for attending this invitation to this side event of the United Nations Statistical Commission. It is a privilege and an honor to share with you some of the history of this global training initiative that now covers Asia, Asia Pacific, Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and we have some plans to go further. Just remember, guys, that right down there is a button that says translation, and you can switch over to English and Spanish. I'm going to switch over to Spanish right now. Esta es una pequeña introducción a lo que sucedió en las épocas en donde estábamos planeando tener capacitación para los países. En principio, una capacitación que estaba pensada únicamente en lograr una motivación, en lograr unos objetivos sobre una motivación grande. Y la motivación grande es la Agenda 2030. Una agenda que tiene 17 objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, una agenda que tiene de manera jerárquica unas metas y unos objetivos, y cada uno de esos objetivos están impulsados por lograr un desarrollo sostenible en la humanidad. Cuando uno y entiende lo que hay detrás de la agenda, se da cuenta que existe también un mandato. Este mandato es no dejar a nadie atrás. Cada uno de estos objetivos está supeditado a las desagregaciones que tienen que hacerse para poder visibilizar en dónde están los problemas más importantes, en dónde están las brechas más grandes, para poder solventar, ¿no? Primero a través de la focalización de estos subgrupos poblacionales y luego a través de tener políticas públicas que mejoren la situación de estos grupos, pero hay que visibilizarlos. Muchos de los indicadores de los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible pueden ser medidos y monitoreados a través de las encuestas de hogares, pero las encuestas tienen limitaciones, ¿cierto? Y esas limitaciones no permiten que se cumpla el principio fundamental de la desagregación de datos. En el marco de la Agenda 2030 nos llama a desagregar estos indicadores por muchas desagregaciones, valga la redundancia, de interés, que pueden ser ingresos, sexo, raza, edad, ética, migratorio, discapacidad. Las encuestas no permiten llegar a tener una estimación confiable sobre cada una de estas desagregaciones. En todos los cientos de indicadores que existen en la Agenda 2030, es necesario tener entonces en cuenta otros mecanismos, y eso fue un poco lo que, digamos, lo que motivó esta historia. Y sobre todo también contar con métodos y metodologías que puedan hacer que las estadísticas que vengan de estas desagregaciones sean robustas, sean confiables, que permitan tener una confianza del público en las agencias que lo producen. Cuando decimos agencias, estamos hablando de las oficinas nacionales de estadística. Con esto en mente, entonces, empezamos a hacer unas capacitaciones, en principio con RPTC aquí en América Latina, y luego llegó la 13 el desarrollo, que nos permite, estas cuentas son un mecanismo de financiación que permite apoyar actividades de desarrollo en países como estos, ¿no? Y durante 3 años estuvimos muy fuertemente a través de estas motivaciones que ya les contaba, haciendo actividades en conjunto con diferentes agencias, pero en particular con UNSD, con UNFPA y con las comisiones regionales. Este proyecto, que se enfocaba en la desigualdad, tenía un enfoque innovador para examinar esas desigualdades en América Latina. Y en particular queríamos hacer mapas, poder visibilizar mediante estas herramientas de información geoespacial cómo estaban esas brechas y para esto, desde México hasta Chile y Argentina, teníamos que tener unas herramientas que nos permitieran tener esas desagregaciones. Esas herramientas son las técnicas de información en áreas específicas. Que empezó con este libro que escribió Isabel Molina para nosotros en 2018-19, se llama Desagregación de datos en encuestas de hogares. y que después mediante el apoyo de UNSD y el apoyo de UNSD se tradujo al inglés y se tradujo al francés, y estamos muy motivados para que estas traducciones puedan seguir, porque no al árabe, al ruso, en otros idiomas que permitan hacer que este global training no solamente cubra a las personas hispanohablantes o a las personas que hablan inglés y francés, y a otras personas que eh, puedan estar también interesadas en aprender este tipo de técnicas. Pero también hicimos que todo lo que estaba ahí escrito también tuviese unos repositorios, tuviese códigos computacionales que nosotros mismos repartíamos a los países, en donde teníamos toda una gama de técnicas y de estimaciones, y eso lo llevamos a los países primero mediante asistencias presenciales, luego mediante asistencias virtuales, y seguimos escribiendo desde CEPAL muchas cosas acerca de pobrezas, acerca de desigualdades en términos de los indicadores de los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible también, y seguimos produciendo. Em, Hay asistencias técnicas que hemos hecho acá en América Latina, y esa fue la motivación principal por la cual pensamos en que esas actividades que empezaron en América Latina podían extenderse también a otro tipo de continentes, ¿no? Y fue así como con UNSD y INFPA, hace 2 años más o menos, estábamos pensando en llevar esto a un entrenamiento global. Y ahí tuvimos la suerte de contar con los mejores profesores del mundo. Literalmente, los mejores investigadores en Small Estimation estuvieron muy comprometidos y grabaron videos para nosotros, 50 videos más o menos, aproximadamente de 10 a 15 minutos. Parta Lají, Isabel Molina, Mónica Pratesi estuvieron dentro de las personas que nos acompañaron en esta aventura. Está organizada en 10 módulos. Hay 2 versiones, una autoguiada, una que cuenta con consultor o con consultores que tienen doctorado también en este tipo de técnicas y están guiando también a los estudiantes. De la versión guiada, más o menos hasta el momento, 500 participantes han estado inscritos y recibieron su certificado. Y de la versión guiada, pues ya vamos a ver en este mismo seminario cómo nos fue, porque abrimos esta versión guiada en América Latina y el Caribe, en África, Pacífico, en África y en Asia Pacífico. Es un poco el contexto de este Global Training, que quería compartir con ustedes un poco de cómo empezó esta historia y cómo está nuestro desarrollo hasta el momento, y los planes que se vienen son muy alentadores para nosotros. Muchas gracias por su atención.
Thank you very much, Andres, for this perspective on the general work on smaller estimation and in particular the global training. Following this, we will have some brief insights into the regional experiences in the development of the small area estimation course. We will have Cristian Telles, a consultant from ECLAC. He will present on the Latin American and Caribbean experience, followed by a presentation on the Asia Pacific region by Richard Tonkin, who is statistician from ESCAP Statistics Division. And finally, Yong Yimin will provide a perspective on future training. So we will start with Cristian. Please, Cristian, go ahead.
Buenos días a todos y todas. Espero que estén muy bien. Bueno, como lo mencionaba el profesor Andrés, a partir del 2020, con todo este tema de la virtualidad, se empezaron las capacitaciones en América Latina y el Caribe en estimación en áreas pequeñas. El primer curso o la primera capacitación que se dictó fue dirigida por el profesor Andrés y mi persona, y tiene 10 módulos, de los cuales se arranca con el módulo de estimación directa, que es lo más vasto que se dicta, y se va subiendo poco a poco en todo el trazo de lo que es estimación en áreas pequeñas. Se arranca con el módulo de estimación directa y se finaliza con estimaciones bayesianas o una introducción del contenido de estimaciones bayesianas. Esto ha trascendido a más de 15 países. De hecho, de las experiencias más bonitas que hemos tenido, países como por ejemplo Ecuador, México, la última capacitación que se hizo, están pensando en cómo utilizar estas técnicas para estimar el número de robos por municipalidades. Entonces, en Colombia particularmente, a raíz de estas capacitaciones, se están empezando a utilizar también estas metodologías para estimar pobreza a nivel municipal, para estimar desempleo. Por ejemplo, en el caso de una ciudad como Bogotá, se está estimando la empleabilidad formal utilizando estimación en áreas pequeñas. A lo largo de todas las capacitaciones que arrancaron, como lo mencioné, de manera virtual, dirigida en 2020, se han hecho alrededor de unas 10 capacitaciones, algunos años. Esto ha sido tan llamativo que la idea era hacer 2 capacitaciones por año, y un año como el 2022 se hicieron 5 capacitaciones en un solo año. Entonces, la experiencia que los mismos estudiantes han manifestado, y los mismos participantes y colegas han manifestado a lo largo de estos cursos, es la utilización y el beneficio que le están dando a estos conceptos. Claramente, todos los códigos computacionales que se utilizan en las capacitaciones se trasladan a los estudiantes, y adicional a eso, una vez se acaba el curso, por decirlo de alguna manera, eso igual queda habilitado en la plataforma, y desde la CEPAL tenemos una constante comunicación con los participantes para que ellos, una vez acabe el curso y empiecen a implementar eso en sus países, desde CEPAL demos también soporte a esos ejercicios computacionales que hacen. Han llegado muchas preguntas posterior a la terminación del curso, inclusive 2 años después, llegan todavía participantes y colegas preguntándonos temáticas, cosas cuando lo están aplicando, y está la CEPAL dando el respaldo técnico que se debe dar en estas capacitaciones. Entonces, las experiencias que se han tenido, por lo menos en América Latina y el Caribe, que es donde he participado yo de manera directa, dando las capacitaciones en compañía del profesor Andrés, han sido muy positivas, ha sido muy bien recibido estas temáticas, y no solo lo utilizan para temas de pobreza ni de economía, también lo utilizan para temas ha trasladado a temas de educación. Por ejemplo, en el caso de Perú también hemos capacitado a varios colegas de Perú, y eso se ha trasladado a temas de educación. Entonces, estas capacitaciones que brindamos desde acá han permeado no solo el ámbito que corresponde a lo económico, sino también al ámbito que corresponde a lo educativo en un país, por ejemplo, como Perú. Entonces, eso es lo que les quería comentar de la experiencia que se ha tenido en América Latina y el Caribe con respecto a estas capacitaciones que han sido recibidas de manera muy positiva, y se ha visto en los comentarios, porque adicionalmente al curso tenemos una pequeña encuesta que nos retroalimenta a nosotros, y vamos mejorando cada día más, y lo que siempre dicen es que los conceptos y la temática han sido muy beneficiosas para los institutos nacionales de estadística en cada país. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Cristian, por esta visión general desde la experiencia de América Latina. We'll switch back to English. Now to give the floor to Richard Tonkin. Please, Richard, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'll just speak for a few minutes. I just wanted to kind of give a kind of brief overview of kind of what's been going on kind of within kind of our region, kind of in Asia and the Pacific, and what is we looking to do in this area moving forward. So just to start by giving a little bit of context, on the work of ESCAP Statistics Division is really driven by our member states, and in particular through the Committee on Statistics. And in its 7th session the other year, the committee called for facilitation of capacity development on the use of new data sources and methods for official statistics. Linked to this, so on the conducive institutional setup and development of tools for the integration of traditional and non-traditional data sources. So linked to that, we know from our work supporting SDG monitoring that there is incredibly strong demand for more disaggregated data to inform policymaking and the allocation of resources. However, it's often the case that sample size of survey-based estimates is simply unable to support direct estimation at high levels of disaggregation, where it is possible to produce estimates from other sources, such as the population census. The resulting estimates are not frequent or timely enough to meet user needs. So this is where small area estimation can play an important role. Finally, final bit of context, in 2023, we launched a new project on supporting the use of big data for official statistics. And as part of that project, we identified the use of small area estimation in combination with Earth observation data as being one of the top priorities that have been highlighted by countries. So I won't talk through this next slide in detail, but just provides an example of an application of small area estimation, which is typical of what many national statistical offices within our region have expressed an interest in. So here, Bangladesh have sought to and successfully developed small area estimates of poverty using a range of different geospatial data sources in order to provide estimates at a disaggregated level in their non-survey years. So moving on, I'd just like to say a really big thank you to ECLAC for all the work that they did developing this course. I think we've heard earlier just how much work has gone into it. And also thank you for ECLAC then working with UNSD and UNFPA to support the development of the English language version of the course. It's always great when a resource like this is developed by one of the regional commissions that's then being utilized globally. So for the Asia and Pacific region, the first facilitated training using this course actually started in October 2023 and was delivered with the financial support of UNSD, which again, we're incredibly grateful for. Such was the demand, and the available places on the course disappeared incredibly quickly and with very little promotion, which really reinforced our appreciation of the level of interest in using these techniques for official statistics. We ended up with participants registering from 9 countries, which really covered the whole breadth of our region. I won't dwell on this topic as I know others are going to talk a lot more about their experiences, particularly as participants. I think following the progress of the course, hearing the feedback that was received has been incredibly useful for helping us plan and prioritize our future activities. In particular, thinking about how an e-learning course such as this can be a key component of a broader package of capacity development for countries within the region. Okay, and that brings us quite nicely to our plans for this current year. So we're incredibly happy that our friends at SIAP, the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, have built into their work plan plans to run another facilitated e-learning for the region this year. Also looking forward to engaging with them and with UNSD colleagues on that. And also thinking about how we can integrate that into the broader capacity development work that ESCAP Statistics Division are planning. So as part of the project that we started last year, supporting the use of innovative, new and big data sources for official statistics to support the 2030 agenda, that project being funded by the UN Peace and Development Trust Fund, we're going to be providing support in the use of Earth observation data with small area estimation. We're provisionally looking to hold an in-person workshop during September or October this year. But wrapping around that, we want to offer practical mentoring support for the development and implementation of national projects. And linked to that, we're also looking to collaborate with UNSD and hopefully some others in developing hands-on practical guidance on use of geospatial data for small area estimation, something I think Yongyi may be saying a bit more about in a moment. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. I'll kind of hand back now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. Well, we have seen in the presentation and also in Christian's presentation the diversity of applications that small area estimation has for different data sources, different indicators. I think this is very useful to see all the potential that these methodologies have. Now we go to Yongyi. Please, Yongyi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Javier. I'm sharing my slides. One slide. So I just want to share some of our plan for the 2024 on small area estimations. So as you may already know that we have this toolkit on using small area estimation for SDG. So this is a wiki space that provides the practical information on methods to produce disaggregate data through small areas estimation. This work has been led by UNSD and in collaboration many of experts in this area from countries, regional commissions, and academia. So this was originally launched in March 2022. And as I mentioned before, this work has been supported by the interagency and expert group on SDG indicators and the intersecretary working group on household surveys. And so we will have newly available software package and also case studies. So we will continue to add case studies on the wiki page and improve the wiki page for the users. And I think that, the colleagues already mentioned this e-learning courses that joined developed by ECLAC, USD, and UFPAs. So this material, I'm not going to repeat about the modules included in this e-learning courses. Just want to mention since the starting of the e-learning course in August 2023, the English one mainly I focus on, the self-paced students on the platform, we have 460 students. And we also have about 200 students register for the guided learning session with 1.5 hour actual work per week to provide guidance from a instructor. So we currently support around 120 students from Asia, Africa, and Latin America with the support of ECLAC, SCAP, and ECAs. And I think Richard already mentioned, based on the high demand on the e-learning course in 2024, we will continue provide the e-learning course guided training. So CEP will offer one session for Asian and the Pacific region. If funding available, we also want to offer one for English-speaking Africa country and one for Latin America and the Caribbean. And the French translation of the e-learning courses will be available soon. And so the hopefully will be available for the Francophone African country. So currently this is only self-paced learning courses. To reflect on the learning experience from the past 4-5 months, so we noted that it's very important for the student to have some of the skills, such as the R skill. They need to have the learning linear model skill, and also due to the basic schedule of the e-learning courses, sometimes the interested students do not really have time to finish the courses. or the registered students that do not really work in these areas. So and we also noticed that the current courses materials is very intensive. It's 10 weeks of very intensive learning. So reflect on this experience. We would like to improve the training experience. So we would like to reduce the complexity of the project assignments to cater to different level of students. So for some of the courses, we would like to make it optional for students that do not have a more advanced skill and have less time. But we also doing more intensive learning for the student, like make a certain module for more advanced students, electives for more advanced students. We will do more intensive follow-ups and reminder with students on the homework assignments and also on the video watchings, because it's really need the students' commitment for this 10 weeks of learning. And we will prepare a syllabus that have a specific grading and marking requirement, so students will be clear how much they have to do to finish the course and get the certificate. And we'll extend the course completion period by 1 or 2 more weeks to allow extra time for the projects. So this is some lesson learned that we will improve in the coming years. So next I would like to maybe talk about the work we're currently working on the geospatial data for SE. And so this work, sorry, keep moving. So this work is provide an overview and also practice suggestion for using geospatial data in small area estimation. And it discuss like commonly used geospatial variables and the publicly available repository for this type of data. It also covers the basic SAE method, as well as the introduction to the different type of data structure used with geospatial data, also with a focus on the R programming languages. And it will also provide an in-depth example of how to pull geospatial data and use it to generate small areas estimates using a company repository on GitHub. So this paper provides skill and tools to apply the method and also indicate the future research and work. So here I have a link for the draft paper available. We will finalize the paper by the end of 2024. This work is a joint partner with the World Bank and many of the SAE experts, and also supported by IEG, SDG, and also GGIM IGI's work. And so the next step, we would like to develop a step-by-step guidance on how to accessing the geospatial data for SAEs, and also on selecting the types of data to use, and also give examples to illustrate with the data sets. And as I think Richard mentioned, so we'll hope to provide regional training with ECLAC, and maybe potentially with also ECA. So in addition, we also want to organize a small technical group discussion with countries and academics to address some specific questions from the countries, and also explore a potential of using non-traditional data sources, such as remote sensing and mobile phone data for SAE. So this is a plan for the 2024. Thank you very much. Back to you, Javi.
Thank you very much, Yonggi. This has been very interesting. You mentioned these both aspects, how the improvements to the course, and also other lines of work related to the SAE, which are very promising, and we're sure that interesting things will come out from that work. So thank you very much. We will now have a brief forum, like to hear the perspective from the students of the SAE Global Training and have their comments on different questions. We have invited Juniarti Juniarti. She's a statistician at BPS Statistics Indonesia. Natalia Arteaga. She's advisor from the National Statistics Office, DANE, from Colombia. And Tobeka Masibuko. She's a methodologist from Statistics South Africa. I hope that you can hear me well. And I will start with a question to Juniarti. Please confirm, Juniarti, if you're there. Oh,
Yes.
excellent. Now we can see you. So this first question is, what was for you the most challenging aspect of the SAE training, and how did you overcome it? So please go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Javier. First of all, I just want to check whether you guys can hear me okay.
Yes.
Okay, right. All right. Thank you very much. Talking about the challenging aspect for the small area estimation training, my first challenge regarding this training was about the schedule of the synchronous session. So it was a guided session. Unfortunately, the synchronous session was always coincides with my office time. So it was truly challenging to steal 1 hour during my working time to join this live session. In total, probably I joined the synchronous session for 3 times only, probably, but I found those sessions were awesome. In that case, I had to learn the small area estimation materials from the online materials. I used the given PowerPoint and also the videos. And then I learned from those resources, actually. And then when I found some questions or hesitation using this material, I would just write them down and then ask to the trainer in the next synchronizations. The trainer was open to any kind of question, actually, not only about the modules being delivered in that session, but also materials from the previous module. So it was really convenient. And then in general, actually, the modules are well constructed. But I face another challenge in that course, particularly about the hierarchical based methods. So there is no example on how to deploy this technique in our software. So when I had to try to implement this technique to my real data, to Indonesian cases, I have to find other resources. Actually, last year, I used this technique to estimate the poverty rate at sub-district level in Indonesia. But I think this is only minor challenge, actually, because in general, the material covered in this training was great. And then I think that's only challenge I face when I join the small area estimation training. But I just want to add little information that since January 2023, I have trusted by BPS Statistics Indonesia as the team leader for the small area estimation study. So right now is my 2nd year to lead this team, and I found this training was very, very useful for strengthening my team capacity, particularly myself in small area estimations. And in this year, small area estimation studies within the ASEAN Community Statistical System will be started, and Indonesia is appointed as the leader of the study. And this training is absolutely beneficial for strengthening our role within the ASEAN Community Statistical System. So I will absolutely recommend this training to all statisticians in the ASEAN region. And in this moment, I also want to say thank you very much for ECLAC and also team for developing this course. I hope you all are willing to support us in the near future. Thank you very much, Javier.
Thank you very much, Juniarti. This has been excellent, and you told us a couple of things that can be improved in the course. The issue of time is always difficult because of the different time zones, etc. But Already, Yonggi mentioned some of the issues that can be improved regarding that, and also regarding the hierarchical based methods. Maybe something could be expanded there in the course. And congratulations for the designation and being a leader of the SAE team, and also in this broader context. So thank you very much, Junior team. We will go now with a question for Natalia, which is the following. Natalia, can you share concrete examples of situations where you applied small area estimation techniques outside of the training environment? Please go ahead. And in Spanish, if you will.
Ok. Gracias, Javier. Bueno, pues nosotros recibimos capacitación por parte de CEPAL el año pasado. Trabajamos en la Oficina de Estadísticas de Colombia, DANE. Esto, digamos que nos permitió ir, como que es el primer punto donde empezamos a identificar el potencial que tiene el uso de estimación en áreas pequeñas. Esta capacitación fue a principios del 2023, donde pues tuvimos acceso a casos prácticos, acceso a scripts que más adelante nos iba a permitir replicar en datos propios como tal, y eso era una gran ventaja para nosotros. Nos capacitamos cerca de 15 personas identificando diferentes áreas en DANE que después iban a potencializar el uso de esta estadística. Cosas que salen de este curso es identificar que podemos explorar nuevas fuentes de información, como es el caso de las imágenes satelitales, y cómo pues herramientas como Google Earth Engine nos pueden ayudar a acceder a información que está libre en la web y pues fácilmente que nos pueden ayudar a mejorar muchos de los modelos. Y otras fuentes como los registros administrativos que, bueno, actualmente en Colombia se está promoviendo. El año pasado se oficializó la ley de estadísticas, lo cual nos permite acceder a muchísimos más registros administrativos de los cuales tienen acceso el gobierno. Al ya identificar nuevas fuentes de información, digamos, podemos superar una barrera de acceso y es bueno, pero casi no tenemos covariables para poder implementar y construir buenos modelos utilizando SAI. Otra de las cosas que nos ayudó en la capacitación fue, a veces nos sesgábamos mucho, bueno, todo es pobreza monetaria, todo es variables continuas, variables basadas en normalidad, pero pues tuvimos acceso a ver casos prácticos de diferentes modelos con variables de diferente distribución, binomiales, betas, normales, y eso nos abre también, digamos, la gama de aplicaciones que podemos ver, que no siempre tienen que ser variables que cumplan esos criterios de normalidad o que sean enfocadas en pobreza monetaria. Después de eso, pues en DANE surge la necesidad de esta metodología de estimación de áreas pequeñas. Es una muy buena aplicación y nos va a permitir responder esos temas de desagregación que nos están requiriendo, sobre todo desde el gobierno. En el gobierno, digamos, como una de las pautas principales es en verdad identificar cuáles son las necesidades que tiene el país para poder llegar a los que más lo necesitan. Una de las durante el año 2023 realizamos 2 aplicaciones que fueron como las 2 variables que más se repitieron en cuanto a lo necesario y a lo alineado que estaba con las políticas del gobierno. Una era la escala de experiencia en seguridad alimentaria, FIES, y la otra fue pobreza monetaria. En el caso, pues, de la escala de experiencia de inseguridad alimentaria, FIES, es una variable que por primera vez la publicamos el año pasado con respecto al 2022, y donde pudimos hacer publicaciones a nivel nacional y a nivel de los 33 departamentos que tiene Colombia. Esto generó como una gran expectativa, es una información muy importante para el país, sobre todo para alinear a las políticas de hambre cero. De ahí que en Colombia tenemos una mesa de equidad y una mesa, digamos, para alinear esa política de hambre cero, donde surge la necesidad de identificar específicamente los municipios donde hay, digamos, altas incidencias de inseguridad alimentaria moderada o grave, donde efectivamente se debe, digamos, llevar estas políticas que están alineadas con el tema de hambre cero. Para eso, pues, se empezaron a explorar, no sé, otros indicadores sintéticos que nos pudieran ayudar a aproximar esa inseguridad alimentaria, pero pues otra de las iniciativas fue implementemos AI y llevemos, digamos, esa estadística de lo departamental a lo municipal y que así el gobierno pues tenga una herramienta útil para la focalización del tema de hambre cero. Esto, digamos, nos implicó retos en el sentido de que es una variable de baja incidencia a nivel general. Digamos, al inicio era solamente inseguridad alimentaria grave, después la tuvimos que complementar con moderada, pero digamos que tuvimos la oportunidad de explorar diferentes modelos con el fin de llegar al que efectivamente mejor se ajustó a nuestros datos e incluso pues esperamos estar publicando ya los productos que desarrollamos el año pasado, que además pues aparte de la capacitación estuvimos digamos en diálogo constante con los expertos de CEPAL y también de los expertos de FAO para pues tener un mapa de inseguridad alimentaria bastante consistente. El otro es pobreza monetaria. En este caso, digamos que es como el producto inicial de cuando uno empieza como estos temas de estimación de las pequeñas, siempre se habla de los mapas de pobreza, entonces teníamos también que empezar con esta variable. En Colombia nosotros hacemos desagregación a nivel también nacional y departamental, pues la idea es desagregar a nivel municipal y tener efectivamente nuestro mapa de pobreza que además se complemente con el tema de inseguridad alimentaria. Durante el año pasado también trabajamos en esta iniciativa, en este caso pues hicimos uso de modelos de unidad y apoyándonos en metodologías bayesianas, que fue parte de la capacitación. De esa manera, poder reducir los tiempos de procesamiento que, digamos, nos estaba haciendo un cuello de botella dentro de DANE, dado los equipos y demás, pues con los que uno requeriría, o la infraestructura tecnológica con la que uno requeriría para poder correr estos modelos a nivel de unidad, recordando pues que en Colombia somos cerca de 50 millones de personas. Entonces, estas metodologías bayesianas, que fue, digamos, parte de lo que vimos en la capacitación, nos ayudó a eliminar otra de las barreras que era la infraestructura tecnológica, y es que los podemos procesar en un menor tiempo. Y eso era lo que les quería comentar. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Natalia. Destaco de tu respuesta algo muy importante y es este vínculo con la política, ¿verdad? Con la demanda pública por información desagregada y cómo las aplicaciones realizadas proveen, son una solución útil para entregar ese tipo de información a la política pública. Felicitaciones además por todo el trabajo realizado por el DANE en este línea. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Vale.
I turn back to English, and now we give the floor to Rebecca. I would like to ask, what suggestions do you have for improving or expanding the future training on small area estimation based on your experience? Please, Rebecca, if you can turn your screen on, your camera on. You're muted now.
Okay. Good
Now we
afternoon.
can hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I'm using a mobile phone. Something went wrong with my laptop. I'm sorry about that. My name is Tobega from Statistics South Africa. What I would like to suggest, first of all, based on the training that we received last year, one of the things that was mentioned when we were applying for the course was that we should request for 3 hours of work to work on the SAE work. But I would like to propose that 3 hours was actually not enough because the work was a lot. Maybe it coincided with my busy schedule, I'm not sure, but I would like to suggest that 3 hours should be increased. Maybe we can request 5 to 8 hours so that we can be able to do our work without any problems. And I would also like to suggest that, as much as it was on the topic, on the title, that when we are receiving that email to say that we've been accepted, to just give us a heads up that we need, for some of us who did not use R before, to just do a to do a what do we call a smaller course on R, just to teach ourselves to be ready for the training, because it's one of the things that was a hindrance to our performances. And another thing, also, can I check on my notes? And another thing that I would like to say is, with regards to the data that we're working with, it will be appreciated, or it was going to be appreciated, if the metadata was provided from the word go, so that you will understand perfectly what variables are we working with. And then I would also like to commend the facilitators who were delivering the courses with their examples. And then some of the examples were very helpful to understand, because some of the formulas were very complex for some of us. I would like to make an example. We had with I think it was the plug-in estimators. There was a very nice example there that was put there just to explain what exactly is happening in a layman language. So I would like to applaud for that. And then another thing that I would like to speak on is the issue of theory versus the application, because we were trained mostly on theory, but I would like to applaud that towards the end, I think the last 3 or 4 modules were based on practicality. So that's what I would like to talk on, that it will be appreciated if UNSD can maybe have or form some partnership with the statistical offices, National Statistical Offices, to build the capacity on the SAE methods, the use of SAE methods, especially on practical, not just on theory, because the experience from my division, before I joined, I was told that Dr. Rao came to to train them on SAE, but somehow they tried, but because of the lack of practicality, they couldn't be able to continue to apply, because currently we're having an issue that the only SAE can solve it to report on the municipality level. Our stakeholders have been on our necks, but unfortunately, because of the lack of capacity, we can't produce to that, we can't give the estimates on the lower levels. So the organization is currently on trying to overhaul all the surveys to be able to aggregate to the lowest level that we can go to. So I will appreciate if maybe UNSD can form partnerships and continuous trainings and development, so that we will be able to apply the SAE methods and to be able to gain the trust for the stakeholders, because some of the stakeholders, some work was done before, but it seems like the stakeholders could not believe those estimates. So we need the proper guidance on how to apply the SAE methods properly, so that we'll be able to produce the reliable estimates at a lower level, and then we'll also get the buy-in from our stakeholders. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. I think these are very useful comments in this last issue that you mentioned, how to convince the different stakeholders on the results that are obtained. It's something very important, and more emphasis on the practical aspect of SAE. So thank you very much. We will now move to the international expert perspective. We have invited Carolina Franco. She's a principal statistician at NORC at University of Chicago. And she will provide us a reflection on the global implications of smaller estimation and the role in advancing statistical capacity. So, Carolina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Andres. So yes, I'm going to provide.
Sorry, I think you have to change the display settings, because we are currently watching the presenter screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Can you see the right? Okay. Yes, so thank you very much. So I'm just going to give a perspective based on my experiences with several applications of smart area and doing research in smart area for several years. So quick recap, what is small area estimation? There are many quantities that are extremely important to our societies that we can only obtain from surveys or that we can best obtain from surveys. And the goal of small area estimation is to obtain granular disaggregated statistics from surveys. But the problem is that surveys often cannot accurately estimate all the quantities of interest through traditional direct methods due to limited sample sizes. So we use modeling techniques that incorporate additional information, which we call borrowing strength. And there are many possibilities for auxiliary information. We can use administrative records, censuses, other surveys, spatial information, different years of data. And we can use things like satellite data, cell phone data, etc. So there are many possibilities. And so the impact is to allow for the production of disaggregated statistics that would not be possible to do just using survey data and traditional methods. And this includes estimation for domains with limited or even no sample sizes if done properly. And the applications are endless. Disease mapping, insurance coverage, poverty mapping, unemployment, pretty much anything for which you have survey data and you can identify good auxiliary information. So in a nutshell, SAE focuses on producing disaggregated granular statistics beyond what traditional direct survey methods can support by borrowing strength. And I want to just illustrate why this can matter. And so these are two maps of children with anemia in Peru for provinces based on survey data. And on one side, we have the map you would create with direct estimators. On the other side, you have the map that you would create with smaller estimators. And notice all those gray areas on the direct side. Those are areas where the estimates have very high coefficients of variations. I would not pass quality filters. So all of those would be suppressed. And it's important to remember that it's not just numbers that we're suppressing here. These gray areas represent thousands of children with anemia that would be left behind by using only direct methods. So why is SAE useful? Well, the complex problems we face in our societies require detailed information. So for example, if we want to understand the inequities in our society, we need to be able to disaggregate not just by geography, but also by quantities such as race, gender, age, etc. And so detailed information is very important for developing effective data-driven policy and interventions. And it can aid in the efficient allocation of resources. And I'll give you an example with school-age students in poverty, but the point is that we want to give the resources to the people who need it the most. And it can be used to create detailed maps, such as disease maps, poverty maps. And these are extremely important. In public health, disease maps can be used to monitor the progress of diseases, to monitor outbreaks, and to identify vulnerable populations, for example. And I visited some countries that only use SAE for experimental purposes, and I think there's an opportunity to also use it for non-experimental purposes. As an example, in the United States, which is where I live, small area estimation have been used in official statistics for decades, and it's extremely useful, and not just for experimental statistics, for real important applications like poverty, health insurance coverage, unemployment, and the Voting Rights Act Section 203, which I will talk more about later. And it's not just used in the US. I just mentioned the US because that's where I live, but many other countries use it, and there's a vast literature that is quickly expanding. And there's a huge potential to apply it more broadly in order to solve society's problems, but of course we want to do it right. So it's important to promote training, proper use, and best practices. And so in summary, it's essential that countries around the world have access to the right tools to produce reliable disaggregated statistics, and the efforts we've been talking about today are a huge leap forward in that direction. And I also had the privilege of attending some of ECLAC's in-person events, and I was extremely impressed at the power of these events in uniting people at different levels of their small area estimation training and allowing them to exchange ideas, ask questions, etc. So these events were incredible examples of effective capacity building. So I want to give some important examples that I worked on just to show that SAE can be really useful and important for tackling society's problems. So the Voting Rights Section 203 is an SAE program that is used to determine which parts of the United States are legally mandated to provide voting materials in other languages. So the determinations of which parts must do this are based on population characteristics related to citizenship, limited English proficiency, and illiteracy. And of course, because this is related to voting rights, it's it's extremely important for democracy. The SAPI program, which estimates poverty, is also extremely important, and it's an example of a successful, long-standing SAE program. The SAPI team is always reevaluating its models and trying to improve them. So it's an excellent program. And the reason it's extremely important is because estimates for school-age children in poverty are used for the allocation of federal funds. And again, we want the funds to go to the children who need it the most. Another important example, this one I worked at NORC via a grant from the Center for Disease Control, is hearing loss. Hearing loss is actually extremely important because it's a highly prevalent condition in the United States, and it's related to other health outcomes such as depression, dementia, etc. So we developed estimates of 2 severities of hearing loss for counties by age, race and ethnicity, and gender. And this was an important contribution because estimates at these levels were previously unavailable. And so knowing where the hearing hotspots are allows us to target interventions in an efficient way. And I wanted to show you a small figure here about, so we're looking at the coefficients of variation by population size categories, and the blue ones are the direct estimators, and the red ones correspond to the model estimators. And we can see that the coefficients of variations are much lower. And not only that, but everything to the left of this line would be suppressed when you use the direct estimators if you use the ACS suppression rules. And this is the survey that's used for poverty estimation. So the point is that all this, most of these direct estimators would be suppressed, but when we use smaller estimation, all but one very small county receives published estimates. And here's as another example, our hearing loss map that we were able to create from our small area estimation effort at NORC. And the nice thing, this is a screenshot, but if you want to the website, you could select which race you want to look at, which age group, which severity of hearing loss, and there's also a lot of other interesting features. And this work revealed important insights about hearing loss, and so we decided to publish it in a high-impact public health journal so that more people would see it. And actually, it just came out a couple of weeks ago, but it's already receiving a lot of attention from the media, because the insights that were revealed were useful insights and that could be used in the future for addressing this large problem. So I want to thank the United Nations for the impactful work. The need for disaggregated statistics and smaller estimation will only continue to grow, and we've seen other people kind of highlight this in these talks. So to recap, SAE is crucial to understanding and addressing inequities, to planning and evaluating policy interventions, and for the efficient allocation of funds and resources. And I'm very impressed with the training opportunities that the UN is providing and with the impact of this initiative. I want to congratulate to all of you who already participated, and I hope others also take advantage of these really valuable resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carolina, for your insights, and also for being very strict with the time. This has been a very packed webinar, and we're a little past the scheduled duration of this event already. So I will give the floor now to Rolando Campo, the Director of the Statistics Division of the ECLAC, to deliver the closing remarks. Rolando, please, the floor is yours.
Good day. Thank you very much, colleagues. It is a pleasure, and I think it was we heard wonderful presentations from all the participants. I'm going to switch to Spanish. Muy buen día a todos ustedes. Muchas gracias a todos los panelistas que participaron en este side event en el marco de la conferencia de la Comisión de Estadística, que tiene que ver con las mejoras en la capacidad estadística mediante la aplicación y la capacitación global sobre muestreo de áreas pequeñas, haciendo foco en América Latina, Asia y el Pacífico y África. Estuvimos escuchando las presentaciones de lo que, por un lado, John Min, desde el impulso que la División de Estadística de Naciones Unidas está haciendo para llevar a cabo estas tecnologías y estas metodologías que nos sirven, como lo comentó Carolina Franco hacia el final, para poder identificar y mejorar las desigualdades e identificar los elementos para la toma de políticas públicas a los más bajos niveles, utilizando diferentes técnicas, diferentes modelos, diferente información, como son los censos de población y algunos otros registros administrativos, combinados con encuestas que se van actualizando año con año y que nos permiten hacer todas estas inferencias. Escuchamos lo que nuestros colegas de las oficinas regionales de Naciones Unidas están haciendo y cómo están aplicando en la construcción de capacidades de todo este proceso para apoyar a los países a diseminar toda esta información y de todo este conocimiento y cómo aplicarlo en los países para poder implementarlo. Y también escuchamos la participación de algunos de los colegas en los países en lo que están haciendo en los diferentes países y cómo están ya aplicando la metodología, no solamente para temas que tienen que ver con mediciones de pobreza, como se están haciendo, sino también en otros ámbitos como Colombia, por lo que nos tocó participar para este tema que se colaboró en conjunto con la FAO y muestreo también lo que se llevó a cabo. Y pues todo lo que la academia nos puede apoyar, y la verdad muy agradecidos también con Carolina porque nos ha ido acompañando durante todo este proceso y todos estos años, aplicando todo su conocimiento y otorgándonos todo su apoyo para poder diseminar toda esta información en América Latina y el Caribe, pero en todos los demás países también y en todas las regiones. Yo con esto quiero darles las gracias a todos ustedes por este evento en el marco de la Comisión de Estadística de Naciones Unidas y felicitarlos a todos y decirles que invitarlos a que sigan participando y a que sigan aplicando todas estas metodologías en beneficio de nuestras comunidades, de nuestros países y de toda la población. Muchas gracias y nos vemos en Nueva York los que vayan para allá. Saludos.
Muchas gracias, Rolando. So now we come to the end of this webinar. Thank you very much to all the panelists and participants. We will have a web page with the presentations and the recording of the session for those who couldn't participate. And a great day to everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.